We are back up. These are live pictures now of the peloton. We think everyone's back in there. We started with 136 riders in the race today, and they headed off from Münchenstein. We're pretty certain that everyone is still in here. With little crashes. It looks to us like everyone's got back up and back in as well. This is Romain Combo, who we've seen a lot of on the back here for Picnic Post-Anel today. Getting dropped, getting back on, looking for help, getting help. And now he's right on the back of this peloton. The names we expect to see involved, unless the kicker before the finish line is more impactful than it might be. If it does come down to a sprint and this lot are together, we're talking about Sam Watson, the race leader in the yellow jersey. Certainly Matthew Brennan, the 19-year-old Brit, who we think is probably the fastest sprinter here. His team can get him into the right place in order to affect that sprint. And then others that might be involved, Stanislav Anielowski, who we've mentioned already. Campbell Stewart, the Kiwi, on Jaku Alula. Who else have I not picked out? Matthijs Passions, possibly, the Dutchman for Bahrain Victoria. There's the name I chuck in there. Pavel Bittner, who we saw dropping off the back earlier, the Czech rider for Picnic Post-Anel. Probably on paper, Brian. I need to put Pavel Bittner higher. I don't know how well he's been riding in the last year. So he's a good potential pick. Who else have I not mentioned? I think we've rolled through most of them, but I know some viewers will be joining us later on today just to preview who might be in this if it stays for a sprint.
Yeah, like you say, Watson, Pedersen, Brennan, Bittner, Anakovsky, Manton, Capio. There's a few then, like the Betio, the Italian champion. But for the moment, it's a bit kind of stalemate. Too far to go from the finishing line to really kind of ramp it up. So this is going to be a slow burner and a Swiss fine for Movistar.
Oh yes. Spread wide across the road, jumping up onto the pavement as well. And now we see Tudor Pro Cycling up on the left-hand side. We mentioned they've lost Joel Suter, who normally in situations like this would be a key rider for this part of the race while they're looking to try and get things together. We think this would be about Michael Zeilard today. We heard him interviewed earlier talking about what he thought his chances might be. Now that the disappointment, it was very evident in his interview that it was a disappointment for him that he didn't win the prologue for a second year in a row. As he said, I think there were there were 4 riders who were just better than him on the day. Although it did sound, Brian, like he was suggesting as well that the course was a little bit, I think he said crazy or something, didn't it? It was just too technical for him.
Well, that's what he said, crazy course, but you know, it was entertaining, maybe not for a couple of riders, and I think that's why we lost at least one rider, Suter being one of them, finished 6 minutes down. But yeah, that was yesterday. Today's day, we could see a kind of crazy finish, because I think this will be a mixture of different abilities, sprinters, punchers, and you know, they're all mixed in together, and of course the GC riders will want to stay up there as well.
Yeah, nobody wants to have brought their GC riders to this point. First stage after yesterday's prologue, and then have an issue happen. So it's going to be nervous moments front. So you need to make sure that dual purpose, particularly the big teams that have the dual purpose of protecting a team leader and thinking about the sprinter. There's teams of 7 riders in this race. Of course, in this field we have all 18 of the world teams, the highest ranked teams in the world, and then we have 2 second division teams. Lotto is one of those 2 highest ranked teams from last year in the second division, along with Israel Comitech. But in this race there's no Israel Comitech. Instead we have Tudor Pro Cycling, a Swiss team as well. They both have good options. It wouldn't be a massive surprise to see either of those teams winning here today, were we to get a sprint win for Michael Zeilard, or Milan Menton for Lotto, the Belgian rider, and Michael Zeilard, as we heard earlier, the Dutchman for the Swiss Tudor Pro Cycling team. I'm just scratching my head, Brian, to see if there's any possibility of a Swiss win here on this first stage. Late attack, you were talking about late attacks, maybe a late Stefan Kung attack, or a Bissinger attack, as you mentioned as well. Both of them would be quite suited to that, if the speed were low enough at a certain point to jump off the front.
Yeah, and the speed isn't overly high, still too far to go, 7.4, 7.3 now, but definitely they've got the capabilities of surprising, but everybody knows what they're like. Everybody would be kind of half expecting it as well, so I think it's just a case of for a lot of these kind of potential GC riders, but definitely for the Swiss riders, this is a big race for them, and you can just see Stefan Kung being highlighted now towards the front of the peloton, and you know, he's in a position now of being looked after, and you know, he'll maybe want to try and kind of look at any opportunity that may happen in the following 7 kilometres.
Brian, Matty Brennan is at the front by himself. He's got teammates all over the place. Just seen him, what I would think, by the looks of it, taking quite a bit of wind in a little gap right at the front by himself as well. No one around him in yellow.
Yeah, a couple of his teammates have already ridden a little bit, but we saw in Paris-Roubaix he's very good at holding position and staying near the front. You know, Paris-Roubaix is renowned to be very, very difficult to stay in good position for the cobble sections. So Brennan has already shown that he's very capable and very relaxed at doing this, and there's still 6.5 kilometres to go. So I think that Brennan, he'll just allow his teammates to come up. It's always very difficult unless you're on one side of the roads. It's very difficult to keep the team together. So I don't think there's any major kind of panic. So often that, you know, leader riders kind of lose each other, and a sprinter kind of loses each other. As a sprinter, you just stay where you are. You try and stay as close to the front and hoping that your lead outs and, you know, any personnel that are able to help you will get an opportunity to move up when they can.
Well, we've just ridden right across the edge of St. Urson, which is a little village just on the outskirts of, well, the finishing straight here, effectively. They finish on the Boulevard de Peressol in Fribourg. We're in Fribourg Canton right now, heading into town, but we've got to cross the river twice before then. 2 little bridges to go over, and a bit of a twisty, windy one as we go through the edge of town to get towards that long straight to the finish line. The straight to the finish line is long and straight, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 fairly tight corners to get to it as well. Hence why the pressure's on now as well, to prevent any attacking and make sure everyone's in good position. Geraint Thomas is the first of the Ineos Grenadiers riders off to the right-hand side there. Felix Großschartner on the front for UAE Team Emirates in the middle, too. Peter Seri in the blue with the white helmet right in the middle of Soudal Quick-Step. You mentioned him, Brian. I haven't mentioned him prior to that. I actually haven't really thought of it, thinking about Kasper Pedersen, we suspect, the Dane on that team.
Yeah, but I think Evenepoel as well. You want to keep him up towards the front. It kind of meanders until we get to the first kind of sharp kind of left-hand corner, a 90-degree, just before 2 kilometres to go. And I think by then you go over the river, you know, you start to climb up away from the river up towards the finishing line. So that's a key point. So still early with 5 kilometres to go, still big wide roads, but you know what big wide roads means, that you know there's more road space and everybody wants a piece of it.
This opening sprint stage last year was one, in fact we finished in Fribourg, didn't we, on that first stage. It was Dorian Godon who was the winner on that occasion, taking the first of 2 stage wins in the race. He was the best sprinter in last year's race by that account. It was Andrea Vendrame who was second on that occasion, again showing the versatility of that man, who unfortunately isn't in the race. He would have been a useful pick for a day like this today, Vendrame, but he was again the next day second again, but in very different circumstances, up in Salvan in the mountains. Very versatile rider. No Dorian Godon and no Andrea Vendrame, so we're looking to these riders on our screen right now. Matthew Brennan still there by himself on the right hand side. He's the right hand of the 2 yellow jerseys. The left of them is Sam Watson, who's just instructing his team where he wants to be. At the moment, as I say, Brian, arguably the best sprinter in the race, Matthew Brennan, the 19-year-old, just surfing around by himself up there and looking comfortable in it. See how Quick-Step will take it up, and Peter Seri really pushing hard. This is the descent before the potential kicker. We'll get to see how much of a potential kicker that is. It's the last uphill ramp before it levels towards the finish line. We're going to fly through these last few kilometres as well. Our camera motorbike right up there near the front as well. And this is where positioning has been so key into a descent like this. The teams who really want to play this finish, Brian, will have known that, I guess. Yeah,
this is Joseph Cherney. It's on the front, and you know, he's stringing them out in this very quick descent. That's the river we're going to go over, and we start heading up the other side as well. So yeah, expecting it to be lined out at this speed, and you know, this is what some of the riders would have wanted, of course. The bunching up, it gets a little bit dangerous, but you can see we're just about to turn left over the bridge, just over 2 kilometres to go, and then we start the other side to go uphill.
Yeah. Now, let's start looking out for the yellow jersey of Sam Watson and the orange jersey, points jersey of Ivo Oliveira, because both of them could feature. Let's not forget, on general classification, they're on exactly the same time. There's a 10-second bonus for the winner of this stage. We could even see the top two on general classification after the prologue contesting this sprint finish itself. Certainly Sam Watson is up there in ideal position. This is now us into Fribourg, the city itself. This is when the twisty, windy turns come as well. We'll be down at road surface as we are right now, following the front of the race. It's still Soudal Quickstep who have control. There's a long, hard push there by Joseph Cherney, Brian mentioned. This is Geraint Thomas still on the front for Ineos Grenadiers, who are a little bit more spread now. I'm just looking for the jersey of Sam Watson. He was shouting at them earlier. It appeared to be a little bit further back. The yellow jersey we can see there is in fact Matty Brennan. Watson, he's dropped back a little bit in the squeeze to get into town. He's just lost a couple of places, and I think he's detached from the back of these two Ineos Grenadiers riders, the second of which is Ben Swift. And this is that uphill rise as well. It levels over the top. It's Movistar now who pick it up. This looks like Mathias Norsgaard on the front. Geraint Thomas comes through again. Starts to pick the pace up on the front for Ineos Grenadiers. Matthew Brennan's still right there, Brian. He's looking good at the moment for Brett, isn't he?
Yes, we're about 900 metres, 800 metres to go to the finish, so it still drags up here. Does level towards the finish. Geraint Thomas on the front here, and I think as expected, we're seeing a hitter and hoper.
Yeah, late attack. Looking at that, it looks like one of the UAE Team Emirates boys. White jersey. I need to see it a little bit closer. Done. I think it's Geraint Thomas who's closed that one down too, but I can't see where Sam Watson is. Matthew Brennan seems to have joined the Ineos Grenadiers for the day as well, because he's sitting third wheel right now on the back of Ben Swift. Here comes Oliveira. Actually, Ivo Oliveira might be a good one to go for a very, very late flyer. If he's going to go, it's extremely late. It's now. Here comes Milan Menton, I think, being brought up by Lotto. No one team has got complete control of this. Ivo Oliveira is up there on the wheel of Matthew Brennan, or just on the wheel of Matthew Brennan. We've got one of the Arkea B&B riders who's right there as well. I think that might be Voncherini, actually, who's got himself into a good position. We'll keep an eye on that. Oliveira is very well placed in the orange jersey. Keep an eye on him. Matthew Brennan is ready to go, though. The best sprinter in the race at the moment is going to have to start his sprint here, and he does so. And immediately he's got a gap. Matthew Brennan is looking like he's going to win this already. He's going incredibly hard down the right-hand side of the road as we look at it. Matthew Brennan's going to take stage one. Well, we picked him as the best sprinter in the race. He picked himself, he backed himself at the front, and he's taken the opening stage. His third World Tour stage victory, I should say, of his career as well, Brian.
Yeah, very impressive yet again. And
people at home, I'm not doing that. This is the top 10. Swifty took himself a 10th place, three Brits, in the... Hang on. Was that the stage? Yes, because Oscar Onley was in 6th. So 3 British riders in the top 10. Here comes the Maréchal Cheese. That was the whole of the top 10 confirmed for you. Ben Swift in 10th. Ramses De Bruyne, the Belgian yellow jersey, started the day 7 seconds down on Sam Watson, who won the prologue, but he won the 10-second bonus, like Brian Smith pointed out, on the finish line to take over the race. You get to see that race leader's jersey up close now as well. It is, well, it'll fit in very nicely now with the Visma team. Might not be able to pick out Matthew Brennan too clearly tomorrow, but it's a kind of yellow with orange speckles on it. Not unlike my San Michel jersey, as you pointed out, Brian, that I was wearing this morning. There's the GC. Matty Brennan and Sam Watson, the two Brits, in first and second. Ivo Oliveira, the Portuguese rider, in third. Artem Schmidt having moved up nicely with a great final sprint there today into third place. Artem Schmidt, he is in fourth on GC. Now we move on to the points classification, sponsored by Jouet Sport, their national lottery in Romandie. Of course, leading this yesterday was Sam Watson. Matty Brennan will have to give over that points leader's jersey. It is very much a kind of neon orange in this race, isn't it, Brian? That's my highlighter pen right there.
Yeah, it stands out, doesn't it? Well, it leads, let's be honest here, it leads all competitions apart from the King of the Mountains.
Yeah. So that will roll down to the next best place rider in there. There it is. It will be Sam Watson wearing that tomorrow. Unless Sam Watson is the best young rider. No, because he'll wear points over youth, won't he? I think if I've got that right.
Brennan's the best young rider.
Yes, of course he is. This is why we had, after the prologue yesterday, we had Remco Evenepoel wearing the best young rider's jersey today. Didn't see too much of him over the second half of the race. In fact, I didn't see much of him at all, which is probably a good thing for someone like him, who is continuing his build-up to the Tour de France, despite the fact that it's quite a way off. This will be the presentation of the Mountains jersey. And this is definitely richly deserved today. Ben Zwiehoff and Gerben Kuipers going about a battle for it all day today. And there it is. Brian, this is the Mountains jersey, the light blue and white Mountains jersey.
Yes, and the graphics will show that. They got it mixed up yesterday.
Yeah, I know. There he is. The Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe man. I think we can safely say we'll expect to see him in other breakaways in this race, looking to defend that. With what do we have today? 4 classified climbs, 2 second cap, 2 third cap. He has a nice lead, 26 points, with Gerben Kuipers sitting in second, 20 points. Gabriel Kazier in third, but only on 8 points now. Those two surviving from that breakaway. Fantastic day's racing on the opening road stage after yesterday's prologue. We roll on to the first Boucle stage tomorrow at the Grand Beroche. From me, Jez Cox, and from Brian Smith, until tomorrow, thank you for your company, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.